I'm Trent Finlayson.
I'm John Horton.
And this is Distance from Center. This is a show of just basically water ski banter.
Yeah, news, banter. What's going on in the world of skiing this week, last week, next week?
Yep. Our only goal here is just to inspire conversation. Just give a little bit of insight from our perspective of the industry and just deliver you real-time information.
Great, yeah. So last week was U.S. Masters. Lots to talk about last week. Should we start out talking about water conditions? So I already know you and I have really different opinions on this. And if you read the forum over at Ball of Spray, you hear a lot of opinions. So Trent, you tell me why you think those somewhat difficult conditions are a good thing.
All I can tell you is from a skier's perspective, and this is the full truth, is that as athletes we're not concerned about slightly adverse conditions. It's not a random crapshoot. It is what it is. It's real gritty competition, and there's a reason why the U.S. Masters is everyone's favorite. There's a reason why the Moomba Masters are everyone's favorite. There's a reason why the Malibu Open in Milwaukee is far more appealing to the athletes than a tournament with manufactured $1 million conditions. It's competition in the purest sense of the word.
But on the flip side of that, do you agree that Freddie Winter, a lot of us have watched the video and looked at some still frames, he was at, I don't know if it was 38 or 39, but he was rounding three ball, and it looked like the lake just picked him up and dumped him down, and he just was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
He was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and I've watched it enough to see, in my opinion, and this might be well off because I wasn't there, I only watched it on video. I feel that he not being as familiar with his boots and how his pressure distribution could be minutely changed probably had as much to do with him not surviving that massive roller. My point is, had he been on a more comfortable boot system setup, Freddie being Freddie, he probably would have been able to survive given it was 38 off. And to that point, like you watch Freddie. This argument is settled by watch Freddie swim to shore, and look at him. He had a big smile on his face. So there was no sour grapes on his end. He wasn't like, this is garbage. We've got to get a GoFundMe program to fix these rollers. That's not what's going through Freddie's head. So if we want to do GoFundMe, let's GoFundMe some extra prize money and GoFundMe someone who will pay my entry fee.
Yeah, okay, I can't argue that. So, and of course, my side of it, the amateur side of it, this is wrong. This is bad for the sport, what I'm about to say, but when I go to a tournament, I'm most concerned about putting up as high a score as possible. I want to get, a ball plus minus my PB. I mean, I know that that's not, I can just see Jeff Surday, hiding his hands when I say that. But so when I go to a site and the conditions are wacky, and I think I represent a lot of the core of the sport, it's a bummer.
And it's funny, the timing of that comment is perfect. I was at a record tournament this weekend, and we show up at 8:30 in the morning, and the wind is howling straight down the wind, 20 mile an hour, and it's literally white capping, and there was like this energy that started building inside of me, and I was standing there with Bailey Austin, and her and I are like, all of a sudden our goals had changed, but I was far more excited at the idea that I'm going to go out there in white cap conditions and like, okay, I'm going to show people I can run 39 in crappy conditions. To me, that's more fun than, don't get me wrong, I want to run 41 when it's glass, but if I could go out and run won at 41 in Whitecaps, that's more appealing to me in that particular moment. So I mean, I'm obviously not saying I prefer bad conditions, but when those conditions arise, that's just like, oh yeah, this is going to be fun. So I just think it's like it was a weird topic that kind of gained a little momentum, and I think you have to remember that, like, you're watching the best in the world. You're watching career skiers. You're watching professional athletes, regardless of their pay grade. I mean, this is what they do. So it's not, it's not it's absolutely not a problem for them, man. I mean, the as long as it's safe, which it was far more than safe. Look at the scores. 3 at 41 won. 1 at 41 was second. That could have been Okehili. That could have been Charleston.
Right. Okay. All right. So point taken. Staying on format. Let's keep moving because we can talk about this for an hour and we're not done yet. So there's 3 big athletes worth talking about from Masters. Yeah. It's not Nate and it's not Freddie Krueger. They did kind of what we'd hoped or expected. But Brooke Baldwin, Minogue, and Robert Pigozzi, those 3 performances I think were super eye-opening across the board. Brooke Baldwin, go.
So her score to me was not that surprising, but the fact that no one else was able to catch her was. For me, though, if I'm, and thankfully I don't have to ski against Brooke Baldwin. If I'm skiing against Brooke Baldwin, right now I'm like, I'm cringing a little bit because there's a certain amount of confidence that is going to be coursing through her veins when, for all intents, she won the Masters without winning the Masters. So I mean, that's pretty impressive.
I want you to consider this. I want you to step back for a minute. I did have a phone call with somebody on the rules committee this week asking, what if I decided to associate myself as a woman, could I ski women's 4? I don't think it's against the rules for you to ski open women. Okay, let's not go there. That's another show. and that is just me stirring trouble. Okay, back to Brooke. Yeah, she's amazing. I mean, she ran 3.5 at 39, which was the highest score. Unfortunately, she missed her gates. She is like 18 years old, is that right?
It's very close, 17 or 18, yeah.
I think she's just 18, and I think she might be the most technical female skier in the world. Now, she's got some work to do to start catching and beating Regina, and, we do not want to overlook Minogue and Whitney.
No.
But, I mean, I watch this girl ski, and I am staggered. I'm like, I want to understand how she's doing what she's doing, and I would like to emulate what she's doing.
It's profoundly good. Her timing is impeccable. She's, she has, obviously it's hard work, but she has this innate sense of her relationship with the boat that you don't see that often. I mean, it's obviously, it's really, really similar to the way Nate approaches, and again, I don't know how much consideration he puts into it, but his timing of when to work and when to let the boat work is just like, it's profound. And I got the chance to ski with Brooke a little bit, and that was 4 years ago, and even that long ago, she had this scary good sense of timing.
Interesting. All right, that brings us to the French girl, as I like to call her. Minogue, Masters champion, amazing.
She's champion. Yes, really impressive, and on a brand new ski, which is, again, I mean, it's not like she had a month to get used to the skis. It was not a very long. To be fair, it might have been a month, but it certainly wasn't any longer. So, it really impressive.
So, and the folks at home know you're affiliated with Radar Skis.
Yes.
But we all, it's great for Minogue. She just moved to Conley,
yep.
And the people at Conley are ecstatic to add her to their their group. And of course, she joins the team and then goes out and wins Masters. It's a super big feel-good moment up there in Seattle, and folks down in Orlando that. They picked a winner, and I think we're all kind of cheering for them. I've been cheering for this girl since the first time I saw her ski at Soaked. When was that, like 2012?
Yeah.
Remember that event?
I forgot all about that. Yeah, I know, she's incredible.
I mean, I saw her ski there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know from our standpoint, from Radar's side of things, we were sad to see her go, but happy to see her. You know, she was able to get a deal that was, you know, better for her, big picture, and obviously the ski matches her skiing really well. Like, you know, it was kind of a similar thing with her last year. She got on a Radar, and within the first couple of weeks, she hit second at Swiss, second at Masters. So, you know, we were obviously really excited. She was excited. And then go ahead, 12 months, gets on a new ski within a couple of weeks. I believe second at Swiss and first at Masters. So I mean, she's the type of girl, you know, like most of these top level athletes. You know, there's certain skis are going to play to their strengths, hide their weaknesses, but I mean, they're going to rip on whatever they ride. But watching her in and out of her offside on that Conley, she looked incredible.
All right, moving on. The crazy wild card in the group. At LCQ, Robert Pigozzi, who I always thought was Italian, but I guess was born and raised in Dominican Republic? Not sure.
Yeah,
but Dominican is
right.
his official.
Yeah.
And I keep referring to him as the Italian guy, but I guess I'm wrong. But he went to LCQ, and it's either a PB or tied his PB of 4 at 41.
Yeah.
So just stepping back, that's not running 41, but that's pretty elite company, right? I mean, yeah. So this 20-year-old kid he's left foot forward, and he's got this gait that makes everybody scratch their head, thinking he's been back behind the pavilion drinking beers, right? I mean, what's he doing? And it works. And then he goes to Masters, and in the prelims, nobody, including Nate, runs 39 except Pigozzi. He goes and runs 2. This is like, kid that only people deep in the sport has ever heard of, going into the finals as top seed at Masters. That is like astounding good stuff.
Yeah. No, it was incredible, and it's that story that no matter whose camp you're in or what company you're affiliated with, that you were absolutely cheering for this kid. First time I met him was probably 2015 Malibu Open, and I mean, so whatever, he was 17 then, and just this most unassuming little guy. I didn't even know who he was. I didn't even know he was skiing until he started putting his gear on. I'm like, that's Robert Pigozzi. You look vaguely familiar, but I just didn't know he was gonna be that little, and obviously didn't know he was that young. He was super babyface back then, and to watch him ski, like there's he's got some extraneous movements, some stuff bolted on that he's comfortable with, but his efficiency from the center line up to the apex is incredible. In that place, he reminds me of maybe like De Gasperi. Yeah. He's not ever going to rush his apex. He rides the rope to a very high point even, and then he has some other stuff going on. Maybe he gets to load a little early and whatever, but from the center out, that kid understands how to get high in the boat. And it's for that reason why he can look kind of wild, kind of late. But if he's always riding to that high point, he always has enough space to finish the turn, So he doesn't have to battle the boat early like guys that aren't comfortable running a later line, and always committing to moving to that high point. But this kid's good, man. Like, he maybe didn't he didn't show what he wanted to in the finals, but I mean, even coming through the back door of the LCQ, the fact that he stood his ground in the prelims shows that he's got the marbles to make a push. It's gonna be fun to watch these guys the next couple events.
All right, so fantastic. By the way, how short is he? Tall, short?
I don't know. I just remember
how
he
big
was
is
just
Pigozzi?
this. I mean, my memory tells me like when I saw him at Malibu Open, he was like 6 foot nothing, but he was also a little kid. He had chubby cheeks. I'm just like, he just didn't look like a skier. Didn't look like an athlete. He was just. I always call him the chubby little Italian.
Well,
and he's still kind of chubby. But
well, so am I. All right.
Cool.
So, last topic. Big Dawg at the Masters. Love it or hate it?
Personally, hate it. I don't, and I'm going to clarify quickly because I love the Big Dawg format. I love that it exists. it's just doing everybody a severe injustice. Like, one, it's watering down, the guys in the girls slalom, and just as importantly, two, why should Mark Shaw have to feel guilty for being invited to a tournament? I mean, I know there was lots of banter going on online, and like, what the heck? I mean, and it's not their fault, but it shouldn't be there. It should not be there. It just seems weird to throw a condensed amateur event in between all these elite athletes. It's doing both parties a disservice. Like, you're setting these guys up to get daggers thrown at them, and again, it's kind of watering down the whole event.
From an idealistic perspective, I totally agree with you, and I think at the end of the argument, I still agree with you. But when the day comes that you're skiing Big Dog, and they invite you to go to Masters, are you kind of stoked to go to Robin Lake?
No, I wouldn't do it. Like, I wouldn't do it. It's just, and again, I don't blame anyone who chose to, because what you're going to turn down the invite? Like, it's not everyone's MO, but I just think that it's kind of like when they bundled the U.S. Open together in years past. It's just doing everyone a disservice, and it's these are good dudes. I mean, these are some of my best friends. Like, so I don't, guys like Jeff Rogers. I mean, I've looked up to him my whole life. So again, it's not like they're doing anything wrong, obviously, by accepting this invitation. But it just, I feel like the organizing committee is just setting these guys up to fail. Like, there's no way they can win. They go out, Jeff goes out and runs 1 at 43, and then it's going to be, it's 34 miles an hour. He goes out and misses 39, and you're like, they don't even beat Regina. Like, it's just a no-win situation from my standpoint, and such limited upside,
Right. Well, I think, idealistically, I totally agree with you. In reality, except for those of us who are looking at the minutiae of the sport, I don't think anybody really thinks anything of it. I don't think anybody on Robin Lake is like going, oh, that's stupid that Mark Shaw's out there against Rogers or whoever. I kind of think I think it gets lost in the noise in the background. I mean, people are going to stop and watch open men, open women, and wake skate if they whatever.
Yeah, so that's to my point exactly. It shouldn't be getting lost. These guys are the best amateur skiers in the world. So why put them in a venue where they're getting lost? That's exactly what I mean. Like, Okehili, I was down coaching in Okehili this spring, and it happened to be the couple days leading up to the Big Dog, and there's buzz around there. People are really genuinely excited, and I flew out the day that the event started, but from talking to the people that were there, I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big event, and people come out to watch these guys. Coming up next, I guess, is going to be, obviously there's going to be a whole bunch of record tournaments, and there's a handful of guys that are looking to be the next guy to run into 43. But up next on the pro is going to be into Europe. It's going to be the San Bavava Cup. I'll let you do that one.
Yeah, I can't say Lazzari's last name either.
Anyway, coming up is Matteo Lazzari's tournament in Italy, which is awesome. Obviously we'll be watching that. They've got a really strong webcast for that too. So we'll be back next week.
Yeah.
There'll be a little bit of industry buzz developing, and we'll go from here.